something bad to us, we are going to do things to you that have never been done before.
We the people tell the government what to do. It doesn't tell us. We the people are the driver. The government is the car. And we decide where it should go and by what route to do. We the people are free. And I hope we have once again reminded people that man is not free unless government is limited.
Hey folks, how are you tonight? Having a good Friday, I hope. I was a little bit confused today. I had to ask my daughter whether or not it was Friday or Thursday. Having one of those weeks, I'm afeared. But I trust your day has gone well and life, the universe, and everything progresses as it should, with a smile on your face and maybe a beer or a wine in your hand as you head into the weekend. I heard an interesting thing today. Pardon me, one of those little sayings that you hear in life, and sometimes they resonate, sometimes they don't. This one really did. The life you want is on the other side of what you are avoiding. And I thought a lot about that today. I think there is a great deal to that. A great deal to that. Trying hard not to avoid too much in my life at the moment, but I'd be lying to you if I said I wasn't trying to avoid some things. All right, let's kick off tonight with the Waving Wonder, who is joining us from all the way from downtown Mannum this evening. How are you, brother?
Yeah, very good. Just doing my cold chisel impression, mate.
And doing so very, very well. Where is the cheap wine?
In a hidden cup.
And you've got the 3-day growth going all right, so you've got to be happy with that. Better than I can grow. I just wind up looking like cat weasel. But that'll mean something. Did you pick up on that image that I put up just before I played the opener? This one?
That one? Yeah, I saw that. I sort of looked at it and went, yeah?
That's what I thought.
Well,
do you understand why I put it up?
I don't know. We were talking about definition of what is a woman.
Have a look in the bottom left-hand corner, or the bottom sort of square corner of the...
Oh, yeah, right. That looks like... Yeah, okay. No comment.
I don't know where this is. It looks like it could be a inner-city Melbourne or Sydney chemist or supermarket maybe, but... feminine hygiene products for men available on the shelves. I don't know if it's photoshopped or not, but I thought it was a bit funny. And a lot of people would have looked at that, gone just like you did. What? Anyway,
yep.
A lot of people in Upper Coomera on the Gold Coast are wondering what that is. They've gone past and gone, what? This has gone up on the entrance to an estate in Upper Coomera, and thank you to Mick for sending me these photos. Neat little unit. It comes from a company called S-Tech, and it is the latest way to do traffic monitoring. And they do data acquisition work for governments, private organisations, anybody who might be involved in traffic, transport and infrastructure, I gather. But these cameras capture everything. Obviously, this is on a roundabout going into an estate on the Gold Coast. There will be cameras on every one of the exits from the estate, no doubt, and they'll be able to monitor very closely who goes in, who goes out, number plates, faces in cars. It's also designed for pedestrian monitoring, so if there's a lot of people walking around, it'll identify all of those. And they've put a lot of marks around this pole, yellow marks with crosses through them, which I believe will be focus points that they've used to get the camera to be able to snap to a certain point and be on perfectly focused. I know that's how those cameras work because I've got one. In fact, I've got 3. So yeah, that's how they work. But are they nefarious? Well, nothing in and of themselves is nefarious, nor is the company, but they sell the data, and who buys the data and what they want that data for is probably the more significant question, given that we are on the verge of a digital ID and the world wanting us to comply with it. I don't think that anything is safe day and age when it comes to your data acquisition. And the Indian nation is finding it self under a bit of pressure because they've said in the last, well, they didn't say, Keir Starmer was in India last week, I want to say, for a week or so, and he was touring around. They were very, very effervescent in their praise of each other, Modi and Keir Starmer. They took him to a number of production facilities in India, and of course they went through the Indian digital ID system, where at the end of being shown how it all works and how all-encompassing it is, blah, 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 Keir Starmer came out in a speech and said it was the most forward, progressive and wonderful system for digital identification in the world, and the UK should be having something, very similar. Well, in India, it hasn't been confirmed yet, but why would they confirm it? It's believed that the entire Indian digital database, Indian national database, has been hacked. It has been downloaded and is now available for sale on the dark web. The price I thought was a bit cheap because somebody mentioned 80,000, but I thought dollars until it turned out to be Bitcoin. 80,000 Bitcoin for 815 million people's details. That's an Indian digital ID database. Would you pay 80,000 Bitcoin for? Well, you're the Bitcoin master. Didn't Bitcoin go through the floor the other day?
It's still sitting around 102,000. I don't know where we're at in that particular market at this stage. It's a bit all over the place. I know that the stock market took a major dive, but
yeah, it's taken a huge pummeling in the last 24 hours. America's debt, I believe, is pushing through $38 trillion. And somebody in Wall Street has woken up to the fact that that's probably not terribly sustainable. And there is a lot of angst in the ranks, I think, about the US dollar and the pressure that it's under from other currencies around the world at the moment.
Yeah. Well, in all fairness, their government being shut down by a small group of really leftist people. And let's face it, it is the libs over there that have caused that. And
the Democrats.
For those in America, we here in Australia who have nothing to do with it can see it as clear as day. So why the bloody hell can't you? Anyway,
I think a lot of the American people can see it. I think a lot of the American people can see it. It's just they're appalled by it. The fact is that the Democratic Party is dug in like ticks, and they refuse to back down because they want free medical help and services available for non-registered Americans, illegals. And that's just never going to happen. And they should just come to terms with it.
You know how you get rid of a tick? You
Stick
put
a fire
some
on
heat
its
to ass. Yeah, that's exactly right.
And that may be what happened to Nancy Pelosi, because I heard that she's actually retiring.
Yeah, that's going to be a win. Speaking of American, if we've got any of our followers in America, we are looking to purchase some exhaust manifold gaskets from America. We found a site. We have a location. Unfortunately, they only deliver in America. So we need somebody to stick up their hand and say, yeah, you can get it delivered to my place. We're happy to pay for it, right? And then get it shipped over here to Australia. So if you have them, please contact me, Vince, at vofhq.com, and let me know, and we'll set up a discussion. All right. Thanks.
Yeah, maybe Gary might be able to help us out, or somebody else. So if you can help us out, that would be absolutely wonderful. So Albo Sleazy is coming to Adelaide next year. He is going to put on one hell of a circus, by the sound of it. It's going to be $1 billion worth of circus, a climate circus, no doubt, or no less. Now, Jason Wood, who is an MP, has pretty accurately described what this unbelievably, sad Labor government are going to do. They're going to spend $1 billion of our dollars to bring over every climate activist, every climate scientist, every climate crier in the world, give them a platform to stand up and give their little climate crying speech, give them a top-line hotel room and the best food and wine that South Australia can provide for a week. I believe this whole little procession is going to happen. And 85,000 delegates. I don't know it'd be that many, Jason, but probably 8,500. And $1 billion of our dollars will be wasted hosting them here. South Australians a bit upset about that, do you think?
Well, I was just thinking, if he's coming over here to spend $1 billion, I might go to another state. So, no, sorry, shouldn't say that. But
well, my question would be, if he's spending the $1 billion, where is it going? What companies are charging? What are they charging to facilitate this? If it's going to be 85,000 people turning up, wouldn't you just do it at the Adelaide Cricket Ground?
What's it even being done for? In all fairness, right? Yeah. Because the climate change, what a load of hogwash. I mean, yes, the climate is changing. So I can't deny that.
Being done so Albanese can strut around on the stage and say, look at me, look what I'm doing for climate change. I've brought you all here so we can put our heads together and fix it. But I don't know how many people from China will be coming, and the annual CO2 emissions results are indicating that the Chinese really couldn't give two hoots of a flying owl what happens with Australia and climate change, because they're emitting is outstripping everybody in the world at an alarming rate. But then Bill Gates has come out and said, oh, look, don't worry, climate change isn't going to kill everybody on the earth. And, it's not as bad as we first imagined. And I don't know what's happened to Bill Gates. Maybe he had one of his own vaccines. And then an aneurysm.
Perhaps. There's just no money in there for him anymore.
In 3 months. Thanks, Paul. Yeah, I hadn't seen Albo's credit card for this month. Well, he's got Chinese mates, and there's obviously going to be a way that his Chinese mates can help him pay for that. If Vincent would remove the comment, we'd be able to read it. Australia quietly helping China's military build-up by supplying missile mineral. That is called zirconium. Apparently, we are one of only 3 places in the world that has quite a large stock of this zirconium. Now, Vince, isn't there a bit of an issue here? He's just got off a plane from America after having, bro sort of chats with Donald Trump, even though he's walking down the plane when he gets back here wearing his Joy Division humiliation shirt. Then, within days, he's speaking with Xi Jinping and shaking hands on a mineral deal with them. Now he's sitting at the, I don't know, is it APEC, OPEC, somebody pick my nose peck meeting that, all the Asian leaders are at the moment. And God knows what promises he's making with our money there. If he's flung $1 billion around for South Australia next year, God knows how much he's going to give to these other people. That $1 billion, by the way, would go a pretty significant way to helping a great deal of the homeless that are currently living in tents and cars and caravans all around the world. All around the world, all around Australia. Rocco Vardy springs to mind. Rocco in his caravan is being haunted or hunted, I don't know if that's the best way to put it, by local police and council because they don't like where he's parked his caravan, which is in a car park of a park, a big park, a foresty kind of park. And oh no, you can't camp here. Well, he's not camping. His car won't go any further. So he's sort of stuck. Oh, well, you're going to have to move. The copper, I'll admit, was pretty friendly and pretty understanding. He just had to be there to say, the council said you can't stay here and we have to move you on. And And Rocco stood his ground. But Rocco is one of thousands, tens of thousands of people who are sleeping hard every night of the week. And this sleazy Labor bunch of foreign incompetence, well, maybe they're extremely competent because they're doing exactly what they probably programmed to do, and that's to bleed us dry. And what better way to throw a party for themselves and their concocted scientists and the lobbyists and associated hangers-on in the climate crying movement, a $1 billion party in the state of Australia that I don't think is arguably, I think it is the best state in Australia for producing wine, and some of the most amazing food comes out of South Australia as well. So they're really putting the shine on. And I'd like to know what South Australian ministers and senators in the Labor Department and the Labor Party, who they are and what influence they've held over Albo Sleazy to get this $1 billion boon in their state. Somebody is getting paid off here.
Just as a reminder, we're about to have a South Australian election.
Right.
So all of a sudden now we've got a massive talking point of a $1 billion Labor bringing in da-da-da-da-da-da.
And that's Malin
election.
Labor,
Yeah. Right, a Toxic Q and Vince. Thanks, Toxic Q. I'll have that.
Well, that does give you a lot of money to fling around in your election campaign to bribe unions.
Mate, that's illegal here. You can't do that. You're not allowed to put up false lecture.
It's benefit unions.
It's very subtle way of doing it. Let's just say, because there's.
I didn't know about the South Australian election. That's
it's coming up. I'm absolutely hoping that a lot of the people will get behind One Nation because they're the next biggest party that's going to make any sort of damn difference in this country. So I'm hoping that people will get behind them. Oh, go.
Well, 200 members of the South Australian Liberal Party have walked out the door in protest at Susan Lay's weak leadership and failure of the federal branch of the party to abandon net zero emissions targets. So you're quite right. Where are they going to go? Well, they're not going to go over to the Labor Party. That's for friggin' sure. The National Party, I don't even know if one exists in South Australia. So It is an ideal opportunity for One Nation to sweep in. And if there are independents who feel that they can play a role here, I would urge them to start talking to One Nation now. And if it is something that you can align with, I'd be getting on that bandwagon and starting now, because the momentum is with One Nation at the moment. Pauline Hanson, as we talked about last night, is, well, I don't know if she still is, but was until at least this morning still at Mar-a-Lago in Florida. She's actually staying in the residence at Mar-a-Lago, along with, I believe, Gina Reinhardt and their crew. Now, Mar-a-Lago, don't think she's just sharing the breakfast table with Donald Trump. It doesn't quite work like that. Mar-a-Lago is a very, very large expanse, but only very select people get to stay there. So she's done pretty well. And I was very impressed to hear, although I wouldn't have begrudged her in a heartbeat if she had played this differently, but I'm led to believe that she paid for her own airfares and whatever to get to Florida and to get to Mar-a-Lago, and has not put that on the Australian people at all, as probably she is, able to do as a parliamentarian. So, she did well. Andrew, her speech at CPAC is available. I saw it on Facebook today, so I can't give you a link at the moment, but if you go to YouTube, I'm sure it will be posted up there too. And if it's not there, it'll be on Rumble. It was a very good speech, and she slapped Albo beautifully. What I didn't see was like a full room. So I don't understand how CPAC works. Maybe it works a bit like the Australian Parliament, and only, the seats are only filled when certain people are talking. But I have no doubt that her message would have filtered through to, all and sundry there. She's come out of that CPAC exercise as a bit of a star from down under in the Republicans' eyes, certainly Donald Trump supporters' eyes. But we are 2.5 years out from a federal election, and that's a long time to maintain the momentum, although their approval rating went up another 2% in a day and a half. They're like 17.5% or something now.
Yeah. Oh, in all fairness, that's 2 years. And actually, I think that's a benefit to us if we can get enough information out. Now, not everybody wants to support one nation, so that's fine. I can understand that. But all this division we've had in all the smaller independent groups, and I'm speaking as an independent candidate, right? I did that. We cannot get enough support of the people to make a move. Our best option, I think, is to combine and get behind some party that has at least a chance to go in there and smack them in the head and start making some changes. So that's all I'm saying, right? You don't actually have to be a follower, but the smaller parties are diluting the vote, and we need to stop diluting the vote and get something that's Nigel Farage's side onto our government if we're going to try and attack from within. Okay.
I was speaking with Darren Bergworth today, and he was saying something pretty similar. I mean, Darren and I are of similar opinion. We don't necessarily believe there's ever a political solution to this because the system is broken. However, there aren't enough people willing to accept that it is a broken system, or for the reasons why we feel it's broken. And therefore, you can only go currently with the majority, and you've got to go with the system they're currently working within. So you're right. We've got to wake more people up to that system. And we need to get back to the days where we had an Australian Democrat Party led by Don Chipp, who was there proudly with a slogan of keeping the bastards honest.
It's honest.
And this is what Pauline Hanson, right now, if there was an election tomorrow, One Nation would be in a position to be the balance of power in the Senate. So nothing would get rammed through. However, if
like
we go
yesterday.
back... Well, yeah. But if we look back, there are a number of things, a number of bills that were put forward where One Nation, and I'm struggling now to actually name one, so forgive me, I might be talking out my ass, but I don't think I am. One Nation spoke one way and voted another. When it came down to the vote, they voted for something that we, the people, were against. So even with the balance of power, what guarantee do we have that those in that balance of power position are going to do the right thing by the people? Because if you follow the arguments of myself, Darren, and many others, the system is broken, and they're never going to help the people.
Let me give you a counter argument. If they're not in the balance of power, how much option is there that they might interject? Zero. If they are in a balance of power, then there is a chance, be it 50-50, 25-75, whatever, there is a chance that they will intervene. But, I'd much rather have a 25% chance of something happening than a 0% chance. That's just logic, for crying out loud. So that argument falls flat on its hands just purely because of that.
I don't know that it falls completely flat on its hands. I think you're being...
Well, 0 versus 25%, I think that's a pretty... Right?
Yeah.
We have no guarantee.
I accept that. I accept that. Yeah, I accept that. I'm thinking more about, and this is where the politics of that split come in, and how we have seen in the past where we thought politicians of a certain type were hard and fast in their stance and in their particular feelings toward whatever bill was going through, and they were going to vote this way. And yet they are part of a party that the whip says, well, we don't really care what you think, you will vote this way. and you're just an under thing that sits up the back anyway. So keep your mouth shut, hold your hand up when we say so, and if you don't do that, you will be disendorsed. You won't be in the pre-selection at all, let alone pre-selected. And they've done that, both sides, time and time again to people.
Yep, and I hate that option. I believe that a person should be able to cross the floor whenever they believe they should cross the floor for their constituents. Right? That is the way I believe it should work, but it's not. And I know that we've seen that evidence. Let's just say, and you've just perfectly highlighted why parties are outlawed in our constitution. They're not following our constitution, mate. That hasn't happened for a while. I mean, whistleblower has got the evidence in it all over the place, and the more people that wake up to that, the better.
Speaking of the corruption whistleblower, I was speaking with Peter today. Hello, Peter and Donna. Lovely, lovely, wonderful people. Looking forward to doing a lot more with them. We spoke about FBN, and I've done a lot of speaking with people about the Freedom Broadcast Network in the last couple of days, folks. And Vince and I aren't in a position to tell you too much more about it yet, but suffice to say there is going to be some interesting new content that will be popping up on FBN, and we're looking for somebody who can develop a nice little website for us, somebody who might like to be a bit of a hand in that regard. We would be interested, so reach out to Vince particularly for that, vince@vofhq.com. But I will tell you that one of the things... manager. Yeah, somebody who might be interested in trying to sell sponsorships for FBN and possibly Voice of Freedom, and you'll be able to take home a percentage of whatever you sell. Yeah, yep. So
please get in touch with me on that.
And we'll probably get a windsheeter for you too, or a T-shirt, or there'll be something you can wear. Won't be formal.
What, land of the fee?
Yeah. We'll give you a land of the fee T-shirt. Because I think I'm the only one who has one.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. Very exclusive T-shirt.
There will be a merch store set up for FBN, which is going to work a little bit better, but we'll discuss that at a later date, because those will be a purchase on demand option. So it means that when you purchase, you will get it. Unlike the person who's currently waiting for their hoodie, I am working on getting that to you, so I apologize for the delay.
Very good, very good, very good, good. I made a big statement tonight in the little blurb on the head of the show that there is a first. Something that I said would never happen on this show is going to happen on this show. I figure I've been going for 28 minutes, so I better get into that before I actually forget that I was going to play this. Now, I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that I haven't taken too many stronger stances against people in this business than I have against this bloke. And I've said on this channel more than one occasion, I will never have him on this program to say anything and help him in any way. Well, today he said something that I totally 100% agree with. So, for the first time, wash your mouth out, and probably the last time, Dave Onegs on the Voice of Freedom.
In its tracks. You know what stops the nation? Melbourne Cup. Right? Everyone on the piss watching horses run around in a circle. This country's telling you, this country will be conquered. That's the sad reality. And so, yeah, folks, Australia is, unfortunately, in my view, destined to be conquered. Too weak, too dumb, too ambivalent, too comfortable. And by the time people realise just how good it was, it will all be gone. All be gone. And you'll have these woke, degenerate Marxists running everything. Your kid will have some fucking kitty litter in the corner because it thinks it's a fucking cat and it talks meow, meow, meow. And everyone will pat it on the back and say, oh, don't offend the kid because the kid's been programmed by the fucking education department that it's probably a cat. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no moral compass. There's no backbone. There's just weak people distracted with garbage from the television. It's so sad because this was the best country in the world. And it was worth fighting for, but there's no fight in this country. Changed my mind, folks. You know what I mean? 90% of the population rolled up their sleeves and took 3 shots of an mRNA experiment. Like, it's a piss weak country, you know? And one of the biggest tests that they ever did was Anzac Day during COVID, and they said, "Oh, you can't honour your ancestors. You got to do it in your driveway. You can't go to the shrines. You can't honour your ancestors and their sacrifice." And what did 95% of Australians do? They stood in their driveway like good little government bootlickers and did exactly what they were told, because they were terrified of the fucking invisible boogeyman. You know, too scared to breathe, too scared to stand up for themselves. That's what it comes down to. Too dumb to see through the propaganda. That's just the harsh fucking reality of what's going on in this country. Most people are too dumb to see through the blatant propaganda and the agenda that's right in front of their faces. Same as what's going on with cash. And what's going to happen is once they get their digital bank, their central bank digital currencies, and you object fucking 50 different genders, well, guess what? Your card won't fucking work. You'll be locked out of the economy. That's where it's headed, folks. The same people running the through the education system run the banks as well. It's reality, folks. And the fact that 60 million doses, right? 60 million doses of this thing went out unnecessarily. And there is still not some kind of outrage from the masses. Most people go, "Oh, well, I guess we're just going to try and forget about that." How can you forget what was done? How can you possibly forget what they did to you? And seeing all the consequences of that and all the long-term side effects of that and worse. You know what I mean? If there was any fight in this country, it would have shown up by now. But it hasn't shown up, and it won't show up, folks. I'm really, really sorry to say. I can't see it changing, folks.
Well,
No,
guess what?
I'm pretty sure that's Dave Onegg. So I should just qualify. I haven't seen too many pictures of him, but to me, that's Dave Onegg. So, but I love every word he said. I agree 100%. Sorry, I cut you off.
Yeah, no, I was just saying, well, everything that he said there is actually correct. We were literally discussing that last night at the My Place meeting I was at, which is why I wasn't in the show moderating. But the younger generation here no longer looks at Australia as a country to be proud of. They've lost patriotism.
Yeah.
Right? And, you know, anybody who says that, you know, you've got to put it up, because this is just, I think, total bullshit and total wrong. Our Australian soldiers fought for our freedom and for the freedom to ability in the world. We should recognise our Australian Anzacs and screw anybody who says different. As far as I'm concerned, they're not Australian. Oh, that would be one of them.
Maureen Fakuri. Have I got that right?
I don't know, but it sounds good.
Maureen Fakuri? Fakuri? I don't know. Maureen Fakuri? Is that how you say it? Fakuri, Maureen? Maureen. Listen to this, folks. Why are Anzac lives so special? Are their sacrifices somehow worth more than Muslim soldiers dropping dead in Palestine every single day? Of course they are, you stupid bitch. You can have a service for them in friggin' Palestine. Of course not. It's time to smash the rotten colonialist chains of Anzac Day to pieces and replace it with a global Fallen Soldiers Day. Oh, you piece of filth. That finally honours my people too. Justice can't wait. We need to scream out the cries of the fallen who are begging for our attention today. It's time to torch the whitewashed colonial legacy of the Anzacs and build a remembrance to commemorate all lost lives. I'll go for that, like Jody Kearns, who died at the hands of the Bali bombers in fucking Bali years ago, along with 288 other people who either died or were injured for the rest of their lives.
I have another question.
Do that for every friggin' suicide bomber who's walked into a shop and blown themselves up and killed God knows how many people with nails and nuts and God knows whatever else they pack into that sort of explosive. This bitch needs to be removed from our parliament. I don't know. Yep. She's a Western, I think she's a Sydney greenie, and clearly has no understanding. This woman should be shamed in the street if you ever have the misfortune of crossing her path. You should shame her. What a piece of filth to even begin to suggest that we should have a day in Australia for the Muslim soldiers. Fuck off and have your own day. Anzac
Right.
Day is something clearly beyond Maureen Fuckury and her comprehension level.
Fayuri. Fuck. Yeah, I can't say the name. I got to ask this question. Well, a couple of things. Statement first off, ANZAC stands for all the Australians and New Zealanders. Now that's black and white. So there's the first problem with her comment. Secondly, just how many of those Australian soldiers that died that were Anzacs were Muslim?
Quite a number.
Interesting question. What number, if any at all? Right.
No,
so
she's not talking about the Muslims that died on Anzac Day. She's talking about
no, but she's saying
that fought for Australia. She's talking about the Muslims that fought against Australia.
Yeah. Well,
all the Muslims who died in Palestine every day. That's her reference. All the Muslims who died in Palestine every day. Well, the people in Palestine can have a memorial service on whatever day of the week they like, because God knows in the history of Palestine, you've lost thousands of people at some stage on every day of the friggin' year. Pick one, have a party. But don't come here and tell us that Anzac Day is something bad and should be celebrated with everybody. No.
Oh, right. Even though I'm not a promoter, and this is why I'm looking for somebody to do marketing for us, right? My Place Australia has got an 11/11 protest happening, right? Which you guys should look at, because I know I'm busy in the wrong thing there. I'll go back here. I'm going to put the link up, but it's about the remembrance of our Anzac. And I think we need to send this granny a message.
Oh, yeah. Fuckury, Marika Faruqi. Fuckury.
Yep. For 11 days, let's make some changes to the Australian system. And if you want to know how to do that, go to that link that I've just put up and have a read and see what you think. It's up to you, but it's from Remembrance Day onwards.
And that's what I was speaking to Darren about today. So I haven't spoken to Tony yet, but I hope Tony might be able to help us out that day and go down and cover that, because I believe everybody will be meeting about 9:30 at the shrine. So Darren might be there a bit earlier, but 9:30 to, of course, the service there at 11 where the minute silence is. The plan is after that formal part, to march up to the governor's residence, I believe. So it'll be great to see a lot of the Melbourne people involved in that on the 11th, and then heading up to the governor's about, I think, sort of 10 to 12-ish. So we're going to stream that live if Tony or somebody else can get there and do that. We'll have Darren on for a chat prior to proceedings formally. So if you're in Queensland, that will actually start probably 9:45 Queensland time. Might even be 9:30, quarter to 10 Queensland time, bearing in mind that Melbourne is an hour ahead. And we'll cover that for as long as we can. And Darren will be making a speech, I guess, in both places. There'll be speeches in both places, but we'll cover as best we can on that day. And I encourage you all to check out and participate. Don't just look at it and say, oh, yeah, that's a good idea. Look at it and think, well, what can I do for the next 11 days? 11 days out of a year, let's face it, out of your life right now, would be the most time you've ever dedicated to anything other than something specifically for you. And the remembrance of our fallen in World War I, and generally, is something we should be thinking of every day. And I'm sure those people with family that have served, and probably those who've died more recently, feel that acutely on a regular basis. But we get reminded on days like Remembrance Day, days like Anzac Day, days like Long Tan Day, the Battle of Long Tan, and others. And then it gets put on a shelf for another year. So I think this My Place initiative is a great one. 11 days of remembrance from the 11th of the 11th. And it doesn't mean you've got to go out and hold a vigil every day. There's a variety of things that can be done, even if it's just coming together in a coffee shop to have a meeting with a bunch of like-minded people who maybe vets come together, or you come around and tell a few stories, or just come together. That's really what it's all about. Come together and discuss what's going on at the moment.
That's right. It's about taking out money out of the banks, doing your shopping at local supermarkets, not the big chains. It's about not using your Netflix, not using your apps, or getting off them if you such want to. It's all about trying to do that, and also against digital ID, something we don't need.
As it turns out, digital ID is something Avis are pushing very hard for. In fact, you can't hire a car at Avis unless you have digital ID, although you can. They have now been made aware of Section 74, and they are making the facility available, which can't be too hard because they were doing it up until a week or two ago. Show us your credit card, show us your license. That was your ID. That was all the requirements you sort of needed. Maybe there's a bit more. It's been a while since I've had a need to hire a car or been able to. But by and large, digital ID rolling out in various different places. And I'm very interested to hear where you're experiencing it, where it's cropping up in your daily lives. Are you being asked for digital ID, particularly through MyGov? That seems to be where the big hitch is at the moment. Avis weren't accepting any kind of digital ID unless it came through MyGov. So if you're finding that, please let us know. Email Vince or me, because this is a story that we will do something on, but it will be something that will appear on FBN rather than here on the Voice of Freedom. We might touch on it here a bit and encourage you to go and see the story on the other channel, because this is something that needs to have a bit of time dedicated to it. And with the Freedom Broadcasting Network channel, we will be able to do that sort of thing. In fact, I've had conversations today, and I will throw it out. Many of you will remember Dr. James Wright on the radio. He would get a question thrown at him, he'd read it, and then he'd provide a little answer for 2 or 3 minutes, and all good. We're going to offer something similar, although we're going to offer the services of one of Australia's foremost, there's something that comes before the word psychologists. And I can't remember that word, but it's a good word. She's been on the show before, and I'm speaking of Malibu Bert. And we're going to offer a bit of a service, I think, on FBN, where people can ask questions of her and she can give you a bit of an answer, a considered opinion. When I find a doctor who's willing to do that as well, we'll start doing that with medical stuff that people are now starting to be concerned about, especially nanotechnology in the blood. And I watched an amazing video the other day of nanotechnology building transceivers inside blood work. And when they found something that was too high for them to get onto, they threw a portion of themselves up there and it grew into whatever was required. They had vision of these things completing circuits and turning lights on. Absolutely staggering. So nanotechnology in the blood, and you might have a few questions about that. I can give you a solution to it. You're probably not going to like it, but I can give you a solution to it. Nicotine. Nicotine kills the nanotechnology, and that's why cigarettes now, there is such a war on them around the world, particularly here in Australia, a war they are losing, by the way, to the tune of millions of dollars in sales, so much so that the Australian Tax Department has given up counting how much money they're losing because of the black market cigarette trade. And the Labor Party and previous governments have only got themselves to blame because they've been able to rape smokers for the last 25 or 30 years. And, it's just an easy another, we do it under the guise of health. Well, bullshit. You do it under the guise of money and for no other reason, because you don't care if we die. In fact, smoke as many as you like, it'll kill you a bit quicker. That's their mantra. But they have to charge us to kill us or to let us kill ourselves. It's an amazing system that they've developed. But the black market trade, well, instead of paying $70 for a packet of cigarettes, that's, pretty significant price. And even if you were just buying a packet of 20s, you're paying close to $50 for a packet of those. The trade that is taking over very different. You might pay $8 for a packet of cigarettes. You might pay 12. You might pay 15. You won't pay any more than that. And if you do, you'll go and find another tobacco seller and get it for cheaper. And the government isn't getting any of that excise. In Europe, that's the kind of price you pay for a packet of cigarettes, funnily enough. So the money that is being lost to the government in cigarette taxes is phenomenal.
And whose fault is that? They have basically set it up so that the ordinary law-abiding Aussie average person is now looking to do something by their means illegal because they can't afford to do it any other way. Right? You set your own black market up, guys. You're a bloody idiots.
I wish we could do that in the telecommunications game. I really do. Telstra are changing their terms of service, and it's a rather interesting little change they're going to do. Apparently, they want to let you know that they're making changes to some of their customer terms. Below is a summary of these changes and the dates in which they will take effect. What are the changes? The following changes are designed to help safeguard our customers and our staff. The following changes will take effect from the 11th of December, 2025. Unacceptable customer behaviour. We may cancel, suspend or restrict a service if we reasonably believe you or your authorised representative have communicated or behaved in an inappropriate, aggressive or unacceptable manner towards our staff, partners, contractors or their staff and premises. B, behaved in a manner that places excessive or unreasonable demand on our employees, partners or contractors. Oh, like get it right the first time? Don't make me repeat everything 50 times to 25 different people. That kind of thing. Oh, anyway. We will take into consideration the customer circumstances before taking any action in these scenarios. It doesn't end there. The network coverage and management agreement. Well, your coverage and performance may vary between plans, particularly the 5G plans where they're not going to be offering much to anybody unless you do the right thing. They will suspend your 5G plan if you do the wrong thing, or they will somehow throttle it so you don't get the full benefits. Not all network upgrades will apply to every plan. So these new network upgrades are only going to be for the people they approve. All right? You're not going to have automatic right to access to the fastest data service that Telstra can provide. Don't think this is a bad thing just yet, by the way. They're going to use traffic management to help maintain a more consistent experience across their millions of users. Well, I think a vast majority of their millions of users would say that they're getting a pretty consistent experience at the moment, and it's shit. But we'll see. Some plans may include data prioritization. If your plan doesn't, your data speeds may be slower than prioritized traffic during congestion periods. That means the people they like are going to get faster speeds when the network is busy than people they don't like. Now, people like me who never pay their bill on time but pay it before it's turned off, I fall into that area. They're not going to give me that 5G coverage because I don't pay them when they tell me to pay them. Now, there's a reason for that. A lot of the times I don't have the money to pay them on the day they want it paid. But it's always paid before they have to disconnect me because, well, I'm here, aren't I? So I have done that in part because I just don't want them to get it on the day. But have no doubt their new terms and conditions are going to affect people like me and you who don't pay on the day that they tell you have to pay.
Yep.
Bastards.
Well, speaking of pay, I'm going to say it again. This freedom battle that we're all in is not free, people. Right? They have a huge amount of money on their side. We have none on our side. And yet everybody out there is, oh, yeah, the freedom group, blah, blah, blah. Well, there's so many people that are sacrificing for the freedom group. And then as soon as somebody starts to make even a little bit of money so they can move the thing forward, they get shot down. Friggin' well, stop it. Right? If you want to fight this battle, fight the battle, start supporting it. Sorry, I'm getting a little vicious here, but it's not free. Freedom is not free, period.
Yep.
Sorry.
You pay for freedom. You can pay for freedom in a number of ways. You can pay for freedom in apathy, which will give you slavery. You can pay for freedom by fighting for it, and you may pay for that freedom in blood, your own. Or you can pay others to fight for you and reach into your pocket because you may not be physically able, mentally able, whatever reason. There are 100,000 reasons why you can't get up and do what we do, and that's okay. What we need you to do is help us do it if you can. And we know times are tough, but they're only going to get tougher, and voices like mine and many others are going to get shut down, and they do that by putting a huge amount of pressure on us from other areas. And have no doubt all of us are feeling pressure from other areas at the moment. But if you can help us break this algorithm problem we have, please like and share the program. Please talk to your friends about us. Please let everybody know that it's easy to go to merch.vofhq.com and click on the Sanctuary 750 link and buy a $2 ticket in our lottery, which might win you $750 or a gram of gold, in both cases of which you get more out of this than we do.
Yeah.
And I'm quite serious about that. Right?
Miles more. Yeah.
Miles
the Donkey
more.
Sanctuary scores well. The winner scores well. The second winner scores well, right? And we get a little bit that helps us keep going. And it doesn't cover our costs, guys. I'm telling you that right bloody
Not even
now.
close. Yeah.
Right. So this is why I have a 3-day growth, right? And unfortunately, I can't afford cheap wine.
Yeah.
So there we go. Sorry, couldn't resist that. It came into my brain.
Mate, brilliant. We'll make a radio presenter out of you yet, I tell you. That's quite sweet. And it's probably better that we make a radio presenter out of you, because there's plenty of truck drivers at the moment, although this one appears he may need a new job. He was in Melbourne yesterday, and he managed to clean up not one, but 2 bridges, one of which was a train bridge. And yeah, he got wedged underneath it, managed to blow the hydraulic hoses on top of the excavator, putting hydraulic fluid all over a very, very busy section of Melbourne Road. He also knocked the bucket off the truck at some stage. And that was the first accident. And that blocked traffic for a while they had to put the bucket back on. He probably had to get the excavator off to put the bucket back on, because they're not light, those excavator buckets. Anyway, he had a bad day. I don't know that he's going to have a job at all, but he's got a bad day. What are we? A couple of minutes left. Weird and strange stories coming out about Jeffrey Epstein and his relationship with Donald Trump. We all have seen this picture from back in the day. Well, it turns out that one of the prisoners who was in a cell with him for a period of time has been released from his incarcerated period and is now speaking, and has said that Epstein told him that the lead prosecutor in the case asked him to rat Trump out. And if he did that, then he would be out of there quick as, and he never would have to prove anything. He wouldn't have to back that up in any way, shape, or form. Well, that didn't happen. Epstein died, inverted commas, or maybe he didn't. Maybe he's wearing a white hat and hiding somewhere in a secret area of Mar-a-Lago. Anything's possible, isn't that what they say? And speaking of anything
give
possible,
evidence of that.
One last thing I wanted to show folks before we go tonight. Yeah, this is the new redrawn map of the world according to China. You can see the Republic of Australia down there. That's Tasmania. And apparently, if there's too many of us left to go to Tasmania, they'll give us a portion of New Zealand, I suspect, somewhere in the southern part. So this is a map drawn based on the level of current Chinese interest and predicted Chinese interest into the future. Why is Australia all red? It is because of the economic investment the Chinese have in the country. They already have a foothold in the Darwin port, and they are showing no signs, and neither is the government, of making them take their foot out of that port. The Americans will make that happen. one way or the other. They're putting a lot of pressure on the Albanese government for it, I know, and they're bringing more American troops to Australian shores on rotational basis. So they'll come out here and do 6-month rotations. And my understanding is they'll be coming to Toowoomba and be based out of there, some 10,000 of them. So that'll put total somewhere around 20,000 rotating US forces on the ground here in Australia, Marine forces, Marine Expeditionary Forces on the ground here in Australia at any one time. One in far north Queensland and one in far north Australia, in Northern Territory. And that's already existing. And then this new one that's apparently going to be coming to Toowoomba. And I wonder if they're going to put Wellcamp to good use to try and accommodate them. I don't think it's big enough for 10,000 Marines, but that they might work up to that. And the Marines are very capable of building their own accommodation in, well, anywhere, let's be honest. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there, Vincenzo.
Yeah, mate, I tell you, there's a lot happening and we are not awake enough to do anything about it. We need to wake up the crowd. So, guys, get the word out. Please, somebody, I need 19 more people to hit 500 on the FBN thing. That way we might get paid a cent or two for some advertising if they ever do any. 19 more subscribers is all we require. There's going to be a show coming up soon that I'm going to be talking about smart meters, how they work, etc. A lot of people are misled by what they actually hear, as Carl mentioned the other night, right? They can't necessarily directly control your air conditioner, but they can reduce the amount of power that comes into your house. But that's about the best a smart meter can do unless you deliberately sign in or opt in to allowing your smart devices to do stuff. So I'll be talking all about that. So that's an up-and-coming thing.
Aussie farmers are being disarmed because they're the only ones who've got weapons left. And it's particularly bad. It's particularly bad in Western Australia. There's a great guy that I follow there, Jack in the Outback, who has a very large property in Western Australia. He's former military. He knows weapons. You watch him stalk camels, feral camels on his property, and he shoots hundreds of them a year. And some of them go to meat, are used for meat, but he explains how difficult it is to do that. It takes a semi-trailer to come out and butcher them on site. They can only butcher 6. There's only enough room once you've got the cold room, the butcher room, and the clean down room, and all the other bits of rooms that have got to be, safe for human sort of food preparation. There's only room to store 6 camels, and it's a long way out there and a long way back to take 6 camels to market, even though they might be having a bit of meat in them. It's what you get for the meat. So until the market develops and becomes a bit more profitable, it really isn't a viable way to contain our feral camel problem. However, a bullet from a high power rifle is a very effective way of controlling the problem. And as much as I don't particularly like the idea that they've got to be shot, they do create a huge amount of damage. They tear down fences, tear up water, and it makes it hard for the farmers out there who are actually got livestock on there doing stuff. I'm a bit hard. It's a bit hard too because there are a lot of feral donkeys out there too, and God knows I love the donkeys. So the donkeys suffer the same fate in many cases as the camels, but it's these farmers who have to do it. They're not like farmers anywhere, not allowed to carry a pistol, so they have to walk around and shoot, if you like, a final shot into a camel with their rifle, which is more expensive, more dangerous because it's a high-power rifle at close range. But they're not allowed to take a pistol like a 22 or a 9mm pistol. It doesn't have to be, not looking at a Desert Eagle or anything like that, just to give them a temple shot and put them out of their misery if they still happen to be alive. Thankfully, Jack of the Outback is one cracking shot, can I tell you? And there are very few of these animals that move again once they've hit the ground. But you've got to check them. But that's just one of the stupid gun laws, not just in Western Australia, that's all over Australia. And farmers everywhere are under a huge amount of pressure. And this is another way to make sure that they are under pressure and they are disarmed, because they are one of the few remaining groups that have legitimate reasons to have firearms, and they have them. So let's take them off you, because one day soon we're going to do something, says the government, you're not going to like, and we don't want people with guns pointing them back at us. That's what it's all about.
Could also be crack shots.
Who also happen to be crack shots. Yeah. Can hit a bounding kangaroo traveling 60 kilometers an hour at 150 meters. I know people who can do that.
Done that.
Yeah, there you go. All right, big fella. Thank you very much for all the things that you've done and helped out with this week, although you've been asleep for the last 3 days, but I'm glad you're awake again now.
Sort of.
And we'll have some interesting news for folks with FBN coming up soon. If you've got a question that you would like to ask our psychologist, then have a think about it. What we'll do is get you to record that and email it into us. And we do have a Contrib site, but we might set up a web page somewhere to facilitate that.
I'll see if I can set one up on FBN, but
yeah. All right. Well,
yeah, I'll just quickly for those guys at Donna. Yeah, I'll chase up that thing about the height button, Stu. Yes, I'm not about to do 19 fake email addresses to get us over 500. So it's because it's all about proper viewing and about being honest. And I'm sorry, I'm an honest person, and that's why I won't do it. But yeah.
Oh, good on you, mate. I love to hear that. That's really good. Now piss off.
Now there's this bridge in England that's.
Hang on, we missed the wave. Give us the wave. Folks, have a great weekend. If you're heading out and doing things, then do them safely. Don't go and do anything that I wouldn't do. There is a ton of reasons to do things that I wouldn't do, but if you do them anyway like I do them, it's going to wind up painful. There may be a hospital trip involved, possibly sirens. So just look after yourself. Be safe. And Nevin, I'll see you tomorrow morning. Thank you for your help. And everybody else, Alan and Connie, I'll see you tomorrow afternoon. Thank you for your help. And everybody else, thank you for everything that you do for us. If you can buy a ticket in our lottery, if you want to join our membership, then please do so. Memberships at vofhq.com and our lottery at merch.vofhq.com. X39 patches, got one on my hand right now. My thumb is doing some really weird things. It probably hasn't come good since I broke my wrist, and now it's making weird clicking and clunking noises. I'm not sure that the patch is going to fix it, but I was in a bit of pain this morning when I put it on, and I'm not in any pain now. So if you want to get some patches and try them for yourself, click on that link and just become a preferred customer. You don't have to sign up to the business, but I would urge you, if you are interested in this as a business, reach out to me, Carl at vofhq.com. I was meant to be involved in a LifeWave meeting on Wednesday night, and we had a pretty big show here, and there was a lot of traffic after that show I had to deal with, so I never got to it. But there are a lot of exciting opportunities in the LifeWave business, and you don't have to go out and sell your grandmother or to your grandmother, auntie, uncle, friends, family, everything else, although it'll help you greatly if you can. If you're interested in learning more about that, then I can point you in the right direction. And Tim and Corinne are just two of the most magnificent people who know the world about this. And there are some more extremely exciting products coming from LifeWave down the line. Not just patches, can I say? Can I say that there are some truly phenomenal energy type devices that are coming down the pipe. I'm not exactly sure when they're hitting Australia, but they're promoting them now in the States. So I would think, within a year or so, we will see them here. And when that comes, there is going to be some phenomenal opportunities for those people who are in the LifeWave business to make a few dollars. And if that's you, we'd love to have you as part of it. Call me. Well, you can call me if you got the number, but if you don't, then email me, Carl at vofhq.com. Have a great weekend. Stay off the roads. There are dickheads everywhere. And hopefully, I won't be one over the weekend.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's rock!